Welcome to Small Business Big Visibility. Today we are in a mini-series all about websites, and we're talking about the Contact Us page. Now this one should be a really quick episode. There's not a lot to cover here, but there are a few gotchas that I've seen over the years that if you don't think about it all the time, could totally sneak up, grab you, and you'll be caught in one of the traps. So the first one is, I took a call a few years ago from a potential customer, and they were complaining about their web presence. And they were explaining to me, they said, we don't understand what it is. We have this beautiful showroom that we finished. We've got a new site that we've put together, and yet we're not seeming to really get anywhere with it. We're not getting customers. People aren't calling us. They're not coming into the showroom. And when I looked on the contact page and on the website in general, they really had a terrible mismatch. And this is what I mean. So they've got a showroom, which means they have a physical location. They obviously are going to have a phone number. If they have a physical location, they're going to have a phone there. And yet you go to the contact page and it had, I believe, just an email address listed and a contact form. I couldn't find the address of their showroom anywhere, not just on the contact page, but anywhere on the site. It didn't say that they had a beautiful showroom. It didn't talk about it. There was no map on the website. There was no map on the Contact Us page. There's no phone number on the Contact Us page. It doesn't take very long to realize there were some glaring errors that this company had probably lost mountainous amounts of business simply because they'd missed a few critical areas on that Contact Us page. Let's go through those now so that you're not the same victim that they were. All right, so the first one, do you have a physical location? If not, that's totally fine. But if you do have a physical location, it's great to explain on the Contact Us page your hours of operation. It's also really helpful to put the address on the Contact Us page. Now that I've just said that, sometimes it's not appropriate to put the address on the Contact Us page. And here's when. If you have multiple locations, let's say you've got 10, 20, 30 locations, maybe even 5 is enough. But if you've got multiple locations spread out, it can be challenging for someone to try and find which location they're wanting to work with. So if you're in that situation, you're going to have to do things a little bit differently than what we're talking about here. But if you've only got one spot, maybe you've got 2 addresses, you're fine to put that information right on the Contact Us page because people are going to go there to find it. So again, hours of operation, your address. It's super helpful to put a map right there as well so that those people can see what's around your location as well, because they may see the map and be like, oh, I know exactly where that is. It's right next to Bubba's Grill or whatever, right? That is the kind of information you want to make those connections in their brain. Now, on top of that, you want to have the phone number. If you have multiple locations and you have a phone number for each location, put those numbers on that page. If you only have one phone number, put it on the page. The next thing that is kind of an either or is your email address. Some people will put several email addresses right there on the page. They'll put the sales, the support, maybe if there's a few key individuals on there, they may put their information on the Contact Us page. That's a personal preference. It used to be having those email addresses on the Contact Us page was just asking for spammers to start sending you messages. And I think that that's still a concern, but it's less of a problem than it used to be. So it's totally up to you. I would advise, though, for most businesses to go ahead and put a contact form on that page as well. Now, some people will just say contact us up at the top. That's fine. It's good enough. You're not trying to win a contest with the messaging on the Contact Us page, but sometimes getting a little more creative can be helpful as well. How can we serve you? Let's connect. That's sort of messaging sometimes can be beneficial, especially if your brand is one that having that catchy messaging is a part of who your organization is. Now, there are a few things you probably should not be putting on your Contact Us page. Do not put a lengthy paragraph or a whole section talking about the history of your company or some other obscure facts that your customers don't really care about. Also, it's not a place to put your full FAQ. Maybe 1 or 2 questions might be okay, depending on if the questions are things people are thinking about when they come to a Contact Us page. But I've seen some spots where the Contact Us form is buried underneath a pile of FAQ questions. And so some potential customer that wants to do business with you has to scroll through this mile-long list of questions that they don't care about just to find your contact form and your phone number and your hours of operation. That's a terrible idea. If they wanted to see the FAQs, they'd go to the FAQ page, or they'd go to the related page that talks about the items those FAQs are relating to. So again, don't put the FAQs, don't put the history of the company, don't put a bunch of miscellaneous text that you didn't know where else to put, but it's so important because it means so much to you. If it means so much to you, write it out, stick it on your wall at your house so you can look at it every day. But if it doesn't mean something to your ideal customer, don't put it on your website, don't put it on the Contact Us page. It's not going to help them want to do business with you. It's just you wanting to feel good about yourself. So in conclusion, if you're going to build out your Contact Us page, think about your ideal customer. Why are they landing on that page? When they're there, they're trying to accomplish something. What is it they're trying to accomplish? Put the elements on the page that will help them accomplish those things they're thinking about. And if the content that you want to put on there isn't part of that customer journey, then just take and throw it in the trash can so that you're giving your customers the best experience you possibly can.